You ever notice how we do the absolute most to keep people in our lives who don't even deserve a front row seat? We bend over backwards, lower our standards, and convince ourselves that maybe if we just try a little harder, they'll finally see our worth. Spoiler alert, they won't. Let's get real. If someone can't see your value, it's not your job to put a whole Broadway production just to prove it. You're not a clearance sale, you're the whole damn store. And if they're just walking around acting like your presence is optional, it might be time to hit them with the no returns and no exchanges. As a life coach for over 10 years, I've seen people do it and I've been there myself. You lower your boundaries, you accept things you swore you never would, and before you know it, you're sitting there like, how did I end up in this discount aisle of self-respect? Maybe it's because you saw their potential, or maybe you thought you could inspire them to be better. Maybe you put them on a pedestal. Either way, you're stuck in a situationship where you're the only one making an effort. And honestly, that's exhausting. Look, I get it. Walking away isn't easy, especially when you've invested time and energy. And let's be honest, a lot of your best text message drafts. But here's the thing. If being with them means you have to constantly remind them of your worth, they're not for you. Period. Let them miss out on you. If someone doesn't appreciate you, giving more of what they already don't appreciate is not going to make them appreciate you anymore. It's their loss, not yours. You shouldn't have to water yourself down so they can stomach you. You shouldn't have to shrink to fit into their world. You shouldn't have to justify yourself. And you definitely shouldn't have to put up with, let's see how far I can push their boundaries behavior. Because newsflash, people will test you. They'll see how much they can get away with. And every time you let them slide, you're basically handing them a VIP pass to continue disrespecting you. And you know what's wild? Half the time, they don't even realize they're doing it. It's like an unspoken rule. The more you allow, the more they'll take. You let them cancel plans last minute, they'll do it again. You forgive them for texting their ex, they'll probably do that again too. And the cycle continues until one day you wake up and realize you're in a full-time job you never applied for. Professional boundary breaker. Here's the kicker. You can quit. You don't owe anyone an explanation for enforcing your standards. And trust me, when you finally start respecting yourself, some people are going to have a problem with it. They'll act confused, shocked even, like they had no idea they were out here treating you like an option. That's on them. They'll say things like, oh, you've changed. Or, what do you mean I did something wrong? Yes, they have done something wrong. But even worse, you've tolerated it. And they might say, oh, you've changed. And yes, you have. That's a good thing. Let them miss out on you. Because honestly, if they couldn't appreciate you when you were showing up for them, supporting them, and being your incredible self, they don't deserve to experience the next level of you. The glow-up version, that version doesn't settle. That version that knows better. Breakups aren't the end of the world. They feel like it, sure. You'll have those moments where you're lying on the floor, listening to sad songs. Wonder if you should just text them to just check in. Spoiler, don't. But the truth is, breakups are really just life's way of cleaning shit up. They're clearing out the people who are taking up space, so better ones can show up. So instead of crying over someone who clearly didn't value you, start celebrating the fact that you dodged a lifetime of where do you want to eat arguments with someone who doesn't even know your coffee order. Letting go is hard, but staying in a place where you aren't valued is even harder. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what exactly am I fighting for? Am I fighting for love, or am I fighting for the idea of love? Because if you have to convince someone to see your worth, you're not in a relationship, you're in a negotiation. And love should never feel like a never-ending sales pitch. And at the end of the day, the people who truly care about you won't need a PowerPoint presentation on why you're amazing. They'll just know. They'll just show up. They'll make an effort. and they'll treat you with respect without you having to constantly remind them how to do it. Let them miss out on you. Let them realize what they had when you're no longer available to them. And when they try to come back, because let's be honest, normally they do, remember this, you don't have to answer. You don't owe them another chance just because they finally figured it out. Sometimes the best thing you can do is leave them on red. Instead of focusing on who walked away, focus on you. Invest in yourself. Love yourself in the way they never could. And most importantly, set the standard and never drop it for anyone. Because the right person, they won't need you to prove anything. They'll be too busy showing you why you never had to settle in the first place. And until they come along, enjoy your company. Enjoy your peace. Enjoy not having to deal with half-hearted effort and one-sided love. Because trust me, being alone is far better than being undervalued.